Good morning, everyone, or afternoon. What time is it? I don't even know what time it is. It's 12:18. So I'm going to start tagging. You guys know yesterday I started out with the conversation with Elijah McClain and the dose of catamine. So it's going to be a few days before I can get some real answers with regards to if there's just not enough people that even know what I'm talking about. And that to me is probably more troubling than anything else, because they have records on arrest where paramedics have actually given catamine to persons who are under arrest under their own decision that the person is moving out of some type of delirium. So I'm not even going to talk about that today. And I'm not going to be long because I wanted to make sure I hit this and with pure, as I said with my heart yesterday, I'm saying again with my heart today, because I am sincerely and profoundly confused. I am not a kid. I have traveled more places than most people. Been to Ethiopia, I've been to Israel. I've been to Egypt. I've met Falasha Jews. I've met Israeli Jews of both black and white skin. That was the revelation for Malcolm X, if most of you guys don't know. He left the Nation of Islam after going to Mecca and seeing for himself that there were white-skinned, blue-eyed Muslims that believed the same faith that he believed. There is one thing that joins Christians, Muslims, and Jews, and that is the First Testament of the book that we, from Genesis, we're good all the way up to get to the New Testament. And that's where, we go from, the Prophet Muhammad. And I'm not here to give a religious test. What I am here to discuss today, because it is a sincere question that I have. So I watched Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Houston on The View. Now, I know Whoopi has used the name Goldberg for a long time, but I did not, nobody told me that Whoopi Goldberg was Jewish, and I never knew that Whoopi Goldberg was Jewish, and if she is Jewish, it's something new. And I remember seeing Whoopi Goldberg when she did her very first show on Broadway. I was there. In fact, I had such a good seat. I had, I don't even want to be giving names, but Denzel Washington and his wife was on one side, Aretha Franklin and Townsend, who she was married to, on the side. Me and Alicia Bass, we were sitting in the line of black movie stars to watch this black woman who she called herself Whoopi Goldberg. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I've been to Amsterdam. I sat in the room of Anne Frank. I've read all of her memoirs that she wrote. I sat in that room and I imagined, if you've ever gone to Amsterdam and you've ever sat in the room of Anne Frank, the wall is so thin, it is literally the space that you put between the drywall and the plywood to get into the staircase that took you up to the place where Anne Frank and her family lived as they were running from the extermination of Hitler's Nazi regime and their attempt to, for reasons that we've all read, everybody has different versions of why they think they needed to wipe out an entire ethnic group. Now, as an African American whose ancestors were brought to this country by force enslaved for 401 years. I think you'd have to damn near go back to biblical times to find any other ethnic group that has gone through atrocity for that many years. Now, I will tell you, there is no doubt that the ways of killing Jews by Nazi Germany were horrific. The piling of bodies, the taking of children, it is the only, and this is not comparing catastrophic experiences, but I have always believed. I went to New York University, right in the middle of the village, and nothing around in that area but Jews. I grew up in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and anybody who is on this live know we are there. The line where I live off 3rd Avenue, 2 blocks, you go into the Arch. I'm in Deal. Deal is entirely a Syrian Jew community, the richest Jews that probably live on this side of the freaking East Coast. Into like an El Baran. I'm talking Jews who we used to go in and out of each other's houses as kids, and I never knew that there was an issue with Jews and black people until I was a grown-ass woman. And I still don't know what the issue is. But, I always talk about my Jewish friends. And I said, you know what, Tokwase, don't call, this person and that person who were personally your friends, because they're put in a position where sometimes when you're asking your friends and they don't give you the answer that you think that you should get, you start feeling some kind of way. So I didn't feel like I wanted to call, the people that I care about in my heart, because I don't want anything to sever my personal relationships because I am not understanding. Now, I listened to the tumble sauce of Whoopi Goldberg, who I respect, and Sonny Houston. She's an attorney just like I'm an attorney. I mean, Sonny Houston is got a lot going on. Sonny Houston is Haitian husband, half black and half Puerto Rican and half Jewish mother. She has everything going on. And I looked online and I went to see, what were black people talking about? Because I went back and I read what Nick Cannon said. And Nick Cannon is 39 years old. But Nick Cannon is probably one of the most wealthiest young men in this country. Nick Cannon has made billions of dollars for Viacom. Not millions, billions of dollars for Viacom. They have a relationship with Nick Cannon left, for instance, the show British Got Talent, because Simon decided that Gabrielle Union was looking too black. That her hairstyles and her what she wear was too black. And I gave Nick a lot of props for standing with Gabrielle Union on that issue. Now, we all know he has some of his ratchet shows, Slap Down, and that other show, the battle rap. But he has a lot of other shows that he is like the co-host on. And I think there's one show that he has that they're letting him keep. I don't know what he's going to keep after this apology. But for me, the apology is really what I am sitting here concerning myself with. What I'm concerning myself with is that we are in the middle of a pandemic. We are dying at a huge rate. A large number of the Jewish community, they retire in Florida. My daughter goes to school in Florida. Yesterday, count 3 out of 10 children in Florida, as they are getting ready to go back to school, has tested positive for COVID-19. Now, they told us months ago the young children are not susceptible. Okay, that the teenagers were not going to get it. 1/3 of the children in Florida preparing to go back to school are testing positive for COVID-19. All right. A lot of Jews live in Florida. Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Ivanka, is Jewish. The Kushner Academy is literally 5 blocks up the street from my house. The Kushner Hebrew Academy across the street from Livingston Mall is in walking distance from my house. There is at least, and I am not exaggerating, 8 synagogues in walking distance from my house. I come from a community grown up as a child where there is many Jews, even in vacation in Asbury Park. The Hasidic Jews came by the hundreds of thousands every summer. Now, I knew growing up that the Hasidic Jews, the Syrian Jews, there's a whole lot of different kinds of Jews, like there are a whole lot of different kinds of black people. I have yet to figure out. So I called the National Jewish Federation, who I know has been working with Black Lives Matter in New Jersey since there has been a Black Lives Matter. I called Rabbi Schmeichel, who is well known in New York. And I called, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm not saying we coochie crunch friends, but we do have each other's personal numbers. And I called Amy Schumer. And I sent out an email and I asked them to first read what Nick Cannon said. And then I am asking which one of them will go on a live with me, not for a fight. I'm not here to fight. I'm here for understanding. I'm here truly for understanding. I listened to Mary Trump last night with Rachel Maddow. She said Jewish tropes in their family, it was a regular. Her grandfather was racist and anti-Semitic, and the fact that the only reason why Ivanka could marry Kushner is because they had power in New Jersey. At that time he still had his casinos and they had money. And he saw that within the Jewish community there was money. That is the connection, and as trifling as that may be, that is the conversation that a relative of Donald Trump, he says anti-Semitic and racist things all the time. And she said, I don't know why anybody, but again, everybody from New Jersey was not, surprised. So I was watching some of the past conventions, and not that I even go on to look at Republican conventions, but I'm like, what is this connection other than the fact that the Prime Minister of Israel right now and President Obama did not necessarily get along? So if you don't get along with President Obama, then of course you coochie French friends with Trump. And I also wanted to understand, I didn't want to put my friends in a position to answer this because, like I said, I needed to understand why when a black person says something, and we say offensive shit, don't get me wrong, but Donald Trump says offensive shit every single day. So if you are sincerely concerned about racist tropes, then to me, there should be no confusion if he says racist tropes about anybody. If you truly believe that racism, misogyny, prejudice, whether it be religious, whether it be ethnicity, whether it be your sexual preferences, if that is what you believe, if that is what you want, when you say you want harmony, you want everyone to respect each other. I am not saying that that Nick Cannon should not have apologized, because sometimes people say shit because they're just ignorant to facts. Now, I could go into a whole lot of confusing facts that I have with Judaism, but I'm not a Jew. So what I think, what I believe is really irrelevant as far as your history. Like, I can go over the same, like, for me, I could only marry a man who believes religiously the same thing that I believe. I could not marry a Muslim. I have cousins that are Muslims and friends that are Muslims. I could not marry a Jew. And I have friends that are Jewish, and I have family members married to Jewish people, because I believe in being evenly yoked. Now, I have a question, just like the Muslims and the Jews, because if you go to Israel and you ask them anything about Jesus, they'll tell you, first of all, Yahweh is a common name within the Jewish community, and that it is not in Israel a special name. And you won't know that unless you go to Israel. You read the Quran, you read the Torah, and you read the Bible up into the New Testament, they're exactly the same. Now, if you believe anything, if you believe that the beginning of the world started in the middle of Ethiopia, Ethiopia is one of the largest communities of Jews outside of Israel. The Falasha Jews and Israeli Jews, they have issues even over there because those Jews are black. And if you believe in the history of anthropology, it is in Ethiopia that the first human mitochondrial DNA of a human being, of a woman, was black in Ethiopia, the center of the world. If you believe the Bible, from Genesis up into Matthew, you have to believe that Bathsheba, who David was in love with, and now Dawood and David, of course, you know they gave him an English name, but that's not the name in Israel. But they gave, David was in love with Bathsheba. Bathsheba was Ethiopian. Ethiopia ain't that close to Israel. Okay, the Ethiopia is smack dab in the middle of Africa. So I'm not going to sit here and give you no geographical lesson on Africa and Israel and Egypt. But this I will tell you, there is no two closer ethnic groups that are breathing and living in this world closer than the Africans, the Jews, and the Muslims. They're the closest in everything, in culture, and we come in many shades. Every Egyptian that is truly Egyptian will tell you they are from Africa. It ain't but a hop, skip, and a jump to get from Egypt to Israel. Made that trip. Been there before. I need to understand. And so that's why I call some of the most powerful Jewish people that I know to ask me who should I call to have a sincere conversation that is not where my personality is not going to make you feel uncomfortable, because ain't nothing anybody going to say going to make me feel uncomfortable. I am always willing to learn on any given day about anything. But I need to understand, while I am in the middle of a pandemic with the most race, let me tell you something, guys. Every single president that we have had up until and after 1776, George Washington, everyone but Lincoln, owned slaves. We were still trying to get equality to vote in 1965. We are being killed by the masses. We are more in the prison system in this country than any other group in this freaking country, even though we only 17% of the population. We are dying at 68% from coronavirus. I don't know. We have the worst health care. We are dying at the highest rate in birth and in childbirth. I need to understand, my Jewish brethren, what is it when a black person says something that may be offensive to you, because we have a president that says shit every day, every single day. And I have not seen no major pullouts of economics. When I saw a show with one of his conventions, and I saw that there was a whole slew of yarmulkes that said "Make America Great Again," I said, "Oh hell no! We got to have a conversation. I got to have a conversation with somebody. Somebody needs to tell me by your faith, your belief of God, why is there seemingly less forgiveness?" And if I wasn't using both of my computers at the same time, I would pull up the Jewish prayer of forgiveness. I'm going to put it on my page. That's why I said yesterday, practice what you preach. Practice what you preach. Because the same do unto others as you would have them do unto you is in the Quran, is in the Torah, and it's in the Bible. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But somehow, and I just need to have understanding, if you say something that is offensive to Jews, your life can get destroyed in less than 24 hours. I don't know no other group in this country that has that power. We have been here for 401 years. The Holocaust, it was in the 1940s. In Germany, not on American soil, in Germany, but we opened our doors for refuge to Jews. And I could tell you during the 60s and the 50s, there's a many Jews that died for civil rights of African Americans. But they knew that our civil rights would be their civil rights. And I could tell you from experience and just from mere observation that anybody can see, civil rights gave more freedom to Jews than they gave to African Americans. And it was our civil rights that they stood with us fighting for. But they benefited more from it than we did. Because the difference between Jews and African Americans, Jews are not just from Israel. You got Polish Jews, you got Jews from Germany, of course, like you got Jews from Germany. That's not Israel. So Jews can change their last name, and many of them have, so that Dean Martin, do you know Dean Martin was Jewish? No, why? But Dean Martin changed his name. Well, you can go back and see how many Jews changed their names so that they could just seamlessly go into certain fields. Now, I listened to this whole discussion when Ilhan said all about the Benjamins, and I think who said it also, LeBron James. Them kids about in their 30s, and I could tell you all about the money is in 99,000 rap songs. Those kids do not associate that with Judaism. So if it's an anti-Semitic trope, I am asking any Jewish person who knows to tell me why it's all about the Benjamins, which means all about the money, is offensive to a Jew. Nigger, pretty much offensive. Saying that we come from shithole countries in Africa, pretty much offensive. To say we are all murderers and rapists and our men want to rape all your women, I think as an African American, pretty much offensive. I don't know how many more ways you can get offensive to black people. For 401 years. Now, in the Holocaust, you lost 6 million. And I'm talking in the most atrocious ways you could kill people. You broke up families, children and mothers and fathers. The same exact thing. The same exact thing that the Germans did to the Jews, the Americans did to the Africans, and Trump is doing to the Mexicans right now in 2020. Now, if you, all of my Jewish Brethren, or if you hate me, if you like me, whatever your reason for not liking what I said, you have, it's an open page. I am not here on the attack. I am here because most of the time I don't talk about stuff I don't read. So I have read what I think is your reason. But I don't want to even take my interpretation of your reason, because I didn't just read the Torah yesterday. I didn't just read Black and Jewish History, the book that I showed you yesterday. That book is in my library of books. I didn't just start talking to Jewish people. My entire street, other than the 3 Black families, are Jewish. This is a Jewish community. We live in Short Hills and Livingston and Florham Park, mostly Jewish. And every Jewish holiday, got to put cones in front of my door because they line up the street. We shut down South Orange for Jewish holidays. You don't shut down Jack for no African American holidays, but this whole country shuts down for Jewish holidays. And however they gain that amount of respect across the country, when we have never had a Jewish president in this freaking country yet, but yet they have more power than any other white face in this country. So all of you hillbillies down in the South, y'all need to pipe it down, because you ain't got the kind of power that the Jews have. I just want to let you know. But yet, blood and soil is one of the most racist things that you can say to a Jew, because it goes back to the times when they were killing the Jews and watching their blood run through the soil in Germany. So when you say blood and soil, I know how hateful that is. When they yell blood and soil and carrying those swastikas, those German swastikas, that was straight for the Jews. When Trump says there's good people on both sides, they weren't screaming so much nigger as they were screaming anti-Semitic troops. See, the Ku Klux Klan got 2 enemies. 2 main enemies: Jews and blacks. Jews and blacks. Now, if I ever thought to be any other group that would stand with us in this time of murder, killing, shooting us with all kinds of drugs, ketamine to kill us, raping, all of these things that have happened, these atrocities that have happened for 401 years, not since the 1940s during the time of the Holocaust, since 1619. The Jews have history since the time of biblical times. There's all kinds of religious arguments that you could go on with different religious groups. They can go back and forth with Muslims and Jews. We're not talking about that. I am not here to debate your religious beliefs, how you practice your religious belief, and what name you call the Almighty God. That is not my discussion. My discussion is the disparity on the amount of destruction and the amount of attack you will send to a black person that dares to say anything that is offensive to a Jewish person. Now, I have had 24 hours to pray on it, to read on it, to make calls on it to people that I trust, but I don't want to put them in a position to have to not be able to answer some questions. So they gave me numbers, people to call. And I'm going to wait and see who calls me back, because I want to have not a private conversation. I want to have a double screen, YouTube, Facebook, however they feel comfortable conversation with the Jewish person where not just I can ask questions, but you can ask questions. Because we know the enemy in Donald Trump. And there is no doubt, and they would be lying if they said that it's not true. But when it comes to the businesses in New York, both a money marketing business. Remember Bernie Madoff, who damn near took so many Jewish organization money that people were committing suicide? I don't understand. If you are making a lot of money as an ethnic group, why is it if you talk about the money you make, it's offensive? There is no doubt there are sections in New York that are mostly jewelry stores, and those jewelry stores are mostly owned by Jewish people. If I use the term that street is called, you could say I was using a racist term. The word ghetto, you don't take that word as a racist trope, but yet ghetto is a Jewish racist trope. It's not a black racist trope. It's a Jewish racist trope. Black people somehow, we just decided that we was going to take it on, and that's because y'all don't even know where the word came from. That's why I keep telling y'all, reading is fundamental. So as I am here today, I'm not even going to mix the issues of black people in this country for 401 years with the issues of the Jewish community that they had in Germany. There was no burning and killing of Jews by the Holocaust. Only Jews that was killed in this land, on this land, were racist members of the Ku Klux Klan. These are the same people that support Donald Trump. Those racist Confederates who hate black people also hate Jews. Yet now, don't get me wrong, there's some freaking crazy ass black people up in that damn Donald Trump convention too. They made sure that every time they showed you a picture that they'd all be in the background. But then when I looked in and I saw them yarmulkes that said, make America great again, so don't get me wrong, my Jewish people. There's crazy ass black people supporting this racist ass, misogynistic, narcissistic fool. Just like there are blacks, there's Jews. I listened to his niece last night when she was on Rachel Maddow. She said when she first met Melania Trump, in front of her, he said, you know, this is my niece. She had a very bad drug problem. Very bad drug problem. Really bad drug problem. Now, this girl said she ain't never tipped no drugs in her life. And what am I saying? She said, this man will lie, knowing that everybody in the room, because when he said this, the day that she met Melania, everybody in the room was family. Knowing that he likes to say lies and see how many people will support his lie by staying silent. We watch that every day on TV. Every day when he used to come in that press room and say lies, even Dr. Fauci standing behind him would know he's lying, but they wouldn't say anything. See, we got a president that is so, he is so mentally deranged. His niece, who is a psychiatrist, she don't gain nothing from this. She ain't gonna get no money from this. All she's gonna get is more hatred from the family that hated her anyway. She could have came out with this before he came out. She's like, it has no advantage to her, so it's not like, oh, it's some disgruntled family member. But what she did find out is how much her family, her aunt, the one that was the judge here in New Jersey, up until she resigned because they about to do taxes on her and they about to run down that whole Trump regime of stolen money. His grandfather ran a whole house, the one that came from Germany. From that whorehouse, he was able to give money to his son Fred Trump that started their first house that they built that they bought in New York, that started this dynasty of the Trump real estate. So that's dirty money. That's dirty money. All right. So until he married every other wife that Trump is married, he ain't ever married no American woman. He had a baby with Marla. And he found out about that when he was on the Howard Stern show. Hey, Donald, guess what? I'm pregnant. That's the only reason why he married Marla Maples. And you best believe that child ain't getting nothing close to what those other three Trump kids. The only wife that did not have a prenup is Ivana. And Ivana will tell you she is the only Mrs. Trump. And that's why that daggone whore that he married that was a stripper, and I'm not calling her names out of her name. I'm telling you what she is, because if you met her at Epstein's house, wasn't there nothing there but pedophiles and women who were giving away their body, and there's a whole lot of pictures of her and Epstein. So I'm sure this chick that they just picked up, who's friends of Epstein, gonna have something to say about Be Best. A woman who can't even give you a full sentence, and y'all didn't have nothing to say when she plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech. Plagiarism and get you kicked out of school. Now we done already heard that Donald Trump's sister, the big judge, Mary Trump Barrett, took his SATs. She didn't even say somebody. She said who took his SATs. And I don't remember the white man's name because I'll write it down. But she even told us who took his exams while he was because he went to Fordham. He don't tell you he started off at Fordham. He started off at Fordham, and his father paid whoever he had to pay to get him into Penn. And he keeps saying he went to Wharton. Wharton is the business school connected to Penn. He never went to Wharton. So we live in the midst of a liar every single day. But yet I have to take off a day of worrying about what my daughter is going to go back to Florida in the midst of a pandemic. Whether the world knows that they are shooting black people with a drug that you shoot a wild animal with, catamine, and nobody's talking about it. Or why we can't get an arrest when a paramedic shoots catamine with no doctor on the scene, no medic on the scene, and nobody is talking about Elijah McClain. At least they're trying to bring up somebody on Breonna Taylor. But the number of black people that get killed in this country, I don't see no outrage like that, my brethren Jews, or my brethren Egyptians. Because y'all come over here and make money, a whole lot of money too. And you can call us lazy, you can call us whatever, but we know from the redlining and the way they set up the loans for African Americans, they make sure that every time we got more millions than them, and we have had more millions than them on more than one occasion in this last 2 centuries, they burn it down, steal it. They didn't let us send inheritance, and that is how you make money. Your money makes money. Your money makes money, and you pass down that money and allow it to make money. We were never given that opportunity, not even to this day. You have some black people that will stay quiet as a church mouse because they have relationship with Jews that will protect them. Now, I'm not asking for no protection. I'm only asking for understanding, because I'm not here to insult or to start a fight. But if this means enough to you to destroy, I remember back when Jesse Jackson said Honey Town, I didn't even understand what it was. I knew it was offensive to Jews, and I said, well, if it's equal to something that means nigger, then I don't like it either. Okay, because offensive is offensive, and my friends, their mothers and fathers didn't like it, so I assumed that whatever he said must have been really bad. But I was ignorant, and I still don't know what it means to this day, really, to be honest. But if it's offensive to you, I'm not here to tell you why it shouldn't be offensive. But it's offensive to me, Jewish community. It's offensive to me that you support one of the most overtly racist men. We have every last president up until Obama, and I'm sure he had racism on the flip side somewhere in his. His mother was Irish. I mean, everybody keep trying to act like the man wasn't half white. Yeah, we had a black president, but his mother was white. Pure white Irish, okay? Now, I know a little bit of white, all white. You ever look at President Obama's mother? She looked like a white sheep. The only reason why he is dark is because his daddy looked like dark as the night. So, and that is not being offensive. That's just fact. So, but every president before him, because remember, that crazy ass Kanye West talking about Bush hates black people, but yet you up the ass of Donald Trump. So that boy is just mentally ill. I just disregard him. But if we really want to have serious conversations about race and how we treat other Americans, how we want equality, not based on the color of our skin, but the content of our character, if we want to start repeating all of the great speeches of Martin Luther King and always using the words of Martin Luther King, then everybody follow those same tropes. Don't, if you feel that your brother has offended you, then you speak to your brother before you judge your brother. Because I'm offended as an African American that any Jew in this country, where you came for refuge when they were killing you around the world, and have made your way to the top of Schindler's List, is one of the deepest stories that has been written about the circumstances of the Jews. You go to Hollywood, every major television, music industry, finance industry, it is a fact, not a racist trope, is owned by the Jewish community. They keep their money in their community. And I'm not mad at you. Do you? But in the meantime, if you're going to use the fact that you have gone through a horrific experience, in this lifetime, not years gone by, in this lifetime to this day, no one has been treated worse than the Black people and the Native Americans in this country. So I want you, in this message, I have it on both my Instagram page and I have it on my Facebook page as I speak. Anyone who wants to send me an email, inbox me, and I will have a conversation any way that you need to have it, or you're more comfortable having it. Because this is not about being combative. This is not about starting a fight. Because I don't want to fight. I live on truth. And as I said to you before this even happened, I want to get up every day and make sure that I speak to someone every day that I didn't speak to before, or say something to someone that may need a word that can make their day better than it was before they spoke to me. Even if it's just a compliment. Because God gave each of us a mission. I've been fortunate to have 3 great careers: teacher, lawyer, judge, and I am still have not hit the apex of what God has for me. But in doing so, I need to have an understanding, because there is no doubt the power of the Jewish community. And if you have the power to destroy somebody's life in one day, I need to know what I'm doing. Because me, I know I might say something that might hurt somebody's feelings. And I ain't trying to hurt no feelings. But I am not going to tell no lies to make you feel good. So if you say some effed up junk, I'm going to call you out. It ain't going to be because you Jew. It ain't going to be because you Muslim. It ain't going to be because you agnostic, gay, straight. It's going to be because you said some bullshit. And that's what I'm going to answer to. So I'm going to close this, right now, because I need to close it. But my invitation, send it. And Black people in Hollywood, y'all some weak ass people. You're weak. You know why I'm calling you weak? I'm not saying everybody, because maybe it ain't everybody. Maybe it's just the people I saw. You have one extreme to the other. You have those, I'm going to back you up, I'm going to back you up, I'm going to back you up, Cannon. Not recognizing whether something he said may have been offensive. Now, I am related to someone that has been called an anti-Semite since I was a little girl. I do not hide away from the fact that I am the niece of Leonard and Rosalind Jeffries. I know what that he has gone through. He went to Lafayette. He was a member of a Jewish fraternity and is still in that Jewish fraternity to this day. Yet you have people that call him an anti-Semite. There are Jews that go to my uncle that he talks to every day. and he is in his late 80s. So this thing, I don't understand. I read a lot. I don't understand. I've read like I said, I've read your word in forgiveness and God's word in forgiveness, and it has not differed. Doesn't differ in the Quran. It doesn't differ in the Torah, and it doesn't differ in the Bible. So I'm asking, give me some clarification. From the bottom of my heart, I am asking this with all sincerity. I am prepared for whatever answer you give, but you have to be prepared for my ability to have an opinion. And they don't have to agree, but I will respect your answer, and you'll have to respect my opinion. Now, if you are persuasive, I am always willing to change if I am ignorant to some fact that I don't know. But if you just want me to feel a way because that's the way you feel and you don't feel like you have to give me an answer, that ain't going to be good enough. You're going to have to back up that answer based on something more than how you feel. Because if it was based on how I feel, I would not be on here talking right now. I would just be freaking pissed off. But see, love conquers all. I'm not going to say that I love and I only love a little bit. I will tell you, I don't wish Donald Trump no horrified death. But if something happened to him tomorrow, I don't know if I'd watch the funeral on television. I don't want him to get coronavirus, but I think unless somebody in his family get coronavirus, he ain't going to give a damn about people with coronavirus. And I'm not saying I wish nobody to have coronavirus. But unless you feel something, because you can't be black. You ain't going to turn black tomorrow. I'm not going to touch you and you're going to be black. I'm not going to put no one on the cross and make you black, because you will never feel how it feels to be black in America. I don't care how many black friends you have. I don't care how many people you know. That's what I'm saying. I don't care how many Jewish friends I have and how many Jewish people I know. I don't know what it feels like to be Jew, but I can tell you it can't be worse feeling than the feeling of being black in America. So all my Jewish friends, I need you to explain your pain over my pain. And it's not about comparing pain. I'm comparing your pain from the 40s during the time of the Holocaust and before I can go back to the biblical times and we can have a discussion on the Bible, because that's about God. So we ain't going to discuss biblically. We have our differences in the Bible. But I'm talking about man in our living time right now here on earth. We ain't talking about God. We're talking about humanity. How you support a racist, misogynistic, the most prejudiced, diabolical, treasonous, non-human being. I don't even know what other words you can put. The man is an empty vessel, and I keep telling you that. He is worse than a narcissist. He's indifferent. He does not care who he offends, even if it is a blood relative. So don't get it twisted. He will turn on you at the dime. The only reason why he ain't going to say but so many things is because he know Netanyahu is backing him up over there in Israel. But I know Jews right here in America who ain't feeling no Netanyahu. But that ain't my business, because I ain't no Jew. But I am a black American. And you Jewish Americans, y'all need to give me some answers. Y'all need to give me some answers. All right? I love you. And my love ain't conditional. My love ain't conditional. But I need some understanding. I may not agree with you even at the end of this conversation, but at least I will have some understanding. So with that being said, I don't think there's any reason for me to come back on here today, because I need to read more, and I need to pray more, and I need to speak with a few more people about how I am feeling right now. Because I am not having a revelation about Jews. I'm having a misunderstanding that I just chose not to question, because I had too many people that I loved that were Jewish that didn't think by the way other Jews felt, and so I did not blanket Jews as a racist group against African Americans. But when you, in the middle of a pandemic, can find that it is necessary to destroy one man who is a kid at 38 and a 78-year-old who has been a racist since he came out of his freaking mama's womb, and you do nothing, that I don't understand. So I'm seeking understanding. So grace and peace. I will end you over here on Instagram first, and now I will end it to you. I love you all, my people. I know that it is not conditional, but I must understand in order for me to be able to have a conversation that is meaningful and not hurtful and not just filled with emotions. Grace and peace.